So I'm just going to say hello for a minute here as we just turned the recording on. I am Denise Arminio. I am a certified emotion code and body code practitioner, as well as a Genius biofeedback practitioner. I've been using the Genius for 2 years now, and I love it. And it works seamlessly with my energy healing practice. So I'm really grateful for it and so glad that I can add it to my practice. We also have Claire Mcintyre here today, who
Hi.
also works. You can introduce yourself as well.
I'm Claire over here in the UK. A long-time user of the Genius, and I'm using it for my own health purposes. Due to an MS diagnosis years ago, and I've used it alongside other therapies, and because of that I've practiced the emotion code, lights, scalar wave, so a bit of a jack of all trades and master of none.
I'm sure you're a master. Anyway, and why don't we get going here? So we have our volunteer. Our first volunteer didn't seem to make it on, but we have Chelsea or Chelsea?
Either one.
Well, how do you like it?
I like it both. It's just Chelsea,
Okay.
but yeah, so it's fine.
So I'm gonna say Chelsea because
That's right.
that's how I see it.
I love it.
So we're gonna start. So why don't you begin by telling me some symptoms that you are feeling today, so we can work with those.
It actually started as like the flu on Friday, and now it's like transgressed into sinus pressure. I still have some body aches. I also have I'm clearing my throat a lot. I have a little bit of tightness in my chest. I don't even like speaking this because I'm usually an extremely healthy person. So tightness in the chest and occasional coughing. And then obviously you can hear it in my voice.
Okay.
And then clearing on my throat. I don't have mucus as of right now.
Okay.
So.
Well, it is that time of year, at least here in the United States or Northeast, it's cold. So it is cold and flu season. And just to give everybody a little background, and what I've learned in my energy healing practices, anything can cause anything. So I don't get, I just only look at symptoms. The names of things doesn't really make a difference because it's just the symptoms that we're really looking to harmonize. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to start beginning the scan. So we put all your information in here, and we're going to hit the next. And this screen is just information and it has nothing to do with the scan. So I'm just going to bypass this. And then this next section is where you give a little audio clip so that it can use your voice with all the algorithms. So I'm going to count you down. You can say 3. I'll say 3, 2, 1, begin, and then give your full name and then repeat the vowels A, E, I, O, U until the end. You ready? 3, 2, 1, begin.
Chelsea Doolittle, A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I.
You're good. Okay, so now you can play the voice harmonics down here on the bottom, and that helps in train. Although with Zoom, you really can't hear it very well. So I'm just going to move on to the next screen. But when you're doing this at home or with clients, it's good practice to just click on the voice harmonics. And I'm going to hit continue. And now I am, let me just see if I can. I'm going to take your picture again because it got hidden here. And where is it? There you are. What's going on? That's so weird. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to hit begin analysis. Do you have an affirmation that you would like to use?
I am healthy and whole.
Okay, now I'm just going to go to the libraries and assign them to you. Come on. And now you can see after I've assigned the libraries to the client, the libraries will show up here on the first page and I can begin analysis. So now what the Genius does is after it does the analysis, you'll see it lists in priority where it finds the disturbances. So in your case, it's listing the libraries first. So it's finding where your main disturbance is in my libraries. And then the biofield would be the next subheading, mind and body. Now the Genius uses a number system. So between it, and the number range goes from 0 to 777. From 0 to 100 is represented by the color blue. So you could see that here on brain EEG, it's 43. And that range or blue typically is observed to be a chronic disturbance. Or in Chinese medicine, it is a stagnant energy. It's referred to as stagnant energy. And then from 101 to about the 450 range is represented by the color green. And then around where that ends is where the yellow begins. And the yellow goes to about 680. And the red picks up again where the yellow finishes around that 681, 682 in there and goes to 777. Red is observed to be more acute. So it would be disturbances in the energy field for that item and a more that's happening in the present time. And Chinese medicine can refer to that as heat or inflammation. We do tend to, when we're dragging items into the main tray, we will add items 600 and above and 200 and below. And that's just because we found when we run the scan, when it's in the main whole tray, that often items that appear yellow on the main screen or green in that range can end up as a high after the Genius runs its algorithm. So we just want to make sure that we're including everything that needs to be harmonized. On the left, you'll see two little arrows, or it's almost like an accordion that's just telling us that we can go a little bit deeper if we click on the line. So for example, if we click on the line here for chakras, now we go a little bit deeper and we see each individual chakra. And I'm just going to go here to where is it? The aura. And I'm going to take your aura picture before we start. So let's just take a picture. So your aura has some purple and blue in there. Typically what I look for is bright, vibrant colors. You can see a little bit of gray off on the sides, and it's a little bit muddy or dirty, I guess you can refer to it as. And that usually is a sign to me that there's some stagnant energy in there. The colors represent like the colors of the chakra. So, you know, you can look at, if you wanted to go into more detail, just look up those individual chakras and get meanings for that. But I basically just want to see, what I look for is that there's movement in the aura as we go along, and hopefully by the end it'll be a bright and vibrant colors. So the next thing I do when I start a scan is I will click on or touch System Overview. And I'll hit Begin Analysis here. And what this does, it gives me the system overview, but it's in its expanded form. And everything is then put in numerical order. So we can see what all the high highs are and all the low lows for everything combined. So in this case for you, we're seeing norepinephrine as, you know, being a more acute issue for you right now. Your conception vessel 0.16. The Bach flower essence water violet, and we can actually look that up right now and just see what the meaning of that is. And water violet is finding comfort in independence and self-sufficiency, embracing the joys of a physical existence. So, you know, the genius is saying that that is out of balance right now for you. I don't know if that resonates at all. The next is Spinal Energy 4. I mean, Lumbar 4. And so let's just get a glimpse of what L4 is. And these cards are all sticking together. So L4 are the muscles of the lower back, sciatic nerve. And it harmonizes the spine for back pain, urinary issues, frequent or painful, and the emotion connection of feeling powerless. So again, and then we have some other meridian points, some Savegio some herbs. Now, if we click general overview again, it's going to give us the bottom view. So your issues that are like your lowest items, and where it's seeing it to be a more chronic. So we're seeing the amino acids of taurine, your heart meridian 0.5, ovaries, rosemary essential oil, vervain flower essence. And again, we can look at that one to see if that resonates with you on a more chronic level. Vervain is very fixed in ideals, learning to channel this energy for the highest good, combine certainty with flexibility. So just to give you an idea. We do see psychic attack down here in spiritual protection. Often when I see this, you'll notice some physical pain along with that. So one thing that I always like to do also in the beginning of a session is work on spiritual protection. And I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to run that first so we can empty out our tray. I'm just going to put in all the items. So by clicking on this plus sign on the bottom, it's adding all the reds, all the blues, and all the greens. And so there's 11 items total. I'm just going to run an analysis on that for 1 minute just to try to clear. These for you. It's also important that you stay hydrated and drink plenty of water. That's normally, but also while you're doing working with the Genius and using the frequencies, you will dehydrate easier. So I'm glad you're drinking your water. I'll have some as well. Again, if anyone has questions, you can please type them in the chat, and Claire is helping to answer those while we're running through the frequencies.
Yes, I've just got that one.
So we had 37% rectification with that. So that's great. I'm happy to see that. I'm going to go back now to the general overview, and now I'm going to run these frequencies. My timer, where did it go? Okay, and I'm going to run this for a little bit. So we have 27% rectification. It's not bad. I do like to see 40% when I'm running these scans, but 20% is also good. It's a little gentler. But if you consider all the frequencies that we're working with, when we're working with the reds and the blues in the general overview, 27% is actually a lot because there's hundreds of items in here. So we just don't know specifically which items they are. The rectification numbers are a probability. So we don't know which specific ones it is. I always like to look at the biofield first. That it's so important that we have a healthy biofield. I always think of it and refer to it as it's like in Star Trek, the force field of the ship. And as soon as there's a breach or a hole or damage to that force field, the Enterprise, has a problem. It starts to shake and they have to start making repairs of the ship. So it's kind of the same for us. We want to keep our force field healthy so that our bodies can stay strong and healthy too. So regular maintenance of your biofield is really important. We can look at the chakras and we can add in your solar chakra. I'm going to add in those that are above 600 here as well. And I'll add the heart chakra since it's below 200. Tones I always add in 528. That's for transformation and miracles and DNA repair. I will also add in here the reds and the blues. I won't always go for everything that's 600 and above and 200 and below. I kind of just go with my intuition on that. Meridians. I always like to add the governing meridian and the conception vessel. And I even will go in and click it to go deeper and grab the first and last point on that meridian. So on the governing vessel, the last point is, I think, GV28. I just have to find it. And where is GV1? Does anybody see it here? I passed it. Here it is. And the reason I do the first and last point, even though they're not red and blue, is just because when you stimulate those, the beginning and end point, it helps get everything moving in that meridian system. So hopefully it will help, move the flow of the energy through. Oh, I was just here. Now we're going to the conception vessel, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Add CV1. In this case, it was red, and CV24 is the last point on the conception vessel. And here it is, and that was blue. So in this particular case, on this meridian, the first and last point had a disturbance. So it is really important. You can always, an idea, if you ever wanted to go through all the meridians, is just do the same thing and grab the first and last point for all the meridians. I am not going to do that in this demo because I just want to try to get to some of the symptoms that Chelsea is experiencing. We can put in the Nogiers. The Nogiers are similar to the Sveggiotones. Dr. Nogier found that the organs and the glands have their own frequency, kind of like a fingerprint. Nogier G is the universal frequency, so I will always look at that. But we can look for today to see what Nogier B is, and I use these charts. And Nogier B has to do with digestion, lymphatic, circulatory, and neuropathy. It also opens the energy of the lungs, urethra, bladder, thyroid, thymus, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, allergies, and circulatory system. So you have quite a bit in there. And Nogier L is brain function, left-right brain communication. And it also works with dyslexia, depression, memory issues, and concentration issues. So we can add both those. Spiritual protection we've already worked with, so that's already in the main whole tray down here. Emotions and flower essences, the Bach flower essences are also ones that I always look and work with. And we can put those in here as well. We can add the reds and the blues. And I'm going to add the 600 and above on the emotions. And okay. So the next thing I'll look at in here is your body. And I'm not really passing over some of these. The nice thing that, again, for using the general overview is that if we go into these, anything that's been red or blue in these, when we go deeper, was in the quick balance when we did it initially. So I feel comfortable that we got to most of those. We can look at infection energy here, which is showing up. And there isn't anything glaring here, but fungus is above 600 and virus is below 200. So we're going to add those. Today's stress is showing that there's a little bit too much acid. Now, again, that could just be, you could have had, you know, a cup of coffee or something that was very acidic, or something in something you ate that was, you know, acidic. And you have sensitivity showing up, nutritional. We see fungus here again, so I'm going to add that. We can add cardiovascular since it's there. We'll add brain and liver. I do want to look at the minerals since you're not feeling well. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to add the red, and I'll add anything above 600. We just want to support you as best we can as you're not feeling well. I am going to add zinc, silica. Those are important ones to have. Lithium, I tend to often add in every scan that I do. This mineral has a lot to do with emotions, and often it will show up as red when we do the progressive insights. So I always add that one. We can then add the blue items, and then these ones that are below 200. Amino acids again, just because we're looking to support your immune system and you as you're not feeling good. And we can look at glands, your hypothalamus, and ovaries. Just going to add them in. Organs, gallbladder, and kidneys, your lungs. I'll add your lungs just in case for that, if you had that cough. And we can add the gallbladder in there, but nothing seems to be jumping out at me right there. Spinal energy, I always like to look at because you want to make sure all the signals and information from your brain are getting to the rest of your body. If you click on the high to low here, it will then group it by reds, yellows, greens, so it makes it easier to look at. We already talked about L4 when we did the general overview. And I don't know if we talked about the C3 one. C3, cervical 3 is teeth and facial nerves. It also harmonizes the spine for nerve irritation, acne, eczema, and skin issues. And the emotional connection there is not wanting to take personal responsibility. I don't know how that is for you, but so now we went through all these areas. I'm going to go into libraries. And we're going to hit begin analysis. So Jan, I see your question about you don't clear out what you've already run, you just add on. It really depends in each particular issue. In the demonstration, I'm just kind of adding it on just because I'm trying to teach a little bit and do a personalized scan at the same time. But again, you can do either way is correct. So whatever you are looking to work with is great. I'm going to add some cold and flu remedies in here. And I'm going to add all those that are 600 and above. And I'll do the same thing with the blues and the 200 and below. And we have some colds. We can do little.
Jan is saying thank you for the answer. And is there a maximum number of items you tend to put in the main hold tray?
I try not to go above 200, but sometimes there are libraries that are
Too difficult. Yeah.
big. And if you just go and put the reds and blues in, you might have 90 things in there, and all of a sudden you get to one library and it like shoots you way up over that number. So I try to keep it lower, but I just kind of go with the flow when I get there. I forget where I just was now.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just going in this, trying to get everything in here. Just try to put everything in that we think, it may not necessarily be exact on what you need it for, but if the frequency is close enough, sometimes could be a match. I'm just gonna put in these remedies in here. Black seed oil, for all that are not familiar with it, you should Google it. It's good for so many things.
Black seed oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that.
I think the article for it is just like black seed oil is good for everything but death.
Yeah, my advice would be to mix it with something tasty or something that's going to disguise the taste.
Yeah, I've had it before and I just do it like a shot and
Brave.
Okay, I'm gonna look at respiratory for you. So it's more like a scratch or a cough? Wait a second, I can't hear you. You've muted.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, are you there? I may have muted you back again. Unmute. Did you unmute yourself?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, I could hear you. Sorry.
Sorry. It's not as scratchy. It's more like pressure and hurt. And then wait, for the cough, you mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you have any cough at all?
Yeah, it's a slight cough and it comes like from my chest.
Okay. So I'm just gonna look at your anatomy and add the reds and blues. Again, a lot of times when we work with these libraries, some will be doctors and some won't that are using these libraries. We don't need to know what they all are to work with them. If you just go by the number range in red and blue, that's all. That's really what you need to know. But Google is always your friend often, and you can easily look up if you're curious. So sometimes I like to work with these miasms. I don't know what I have for sore throat. So we're just trying to gather everything here that we can. And then I have one other let's just do this wellness frequencies and hopefully we can. So we're at 191. I think we put a lot of stuff in the tray there. And let's hope that, oh, there is one other area that I like to work on. I always like to look at, especially if there's like a cough, I like to look at the vessels just to make sure we're getting oxygen to all areas. So we can look at this vessels clear repair and restore oxygenation is one I like to use. And we'll put the blue in there. And we can look at the vessel types. I'm just putting them all in. There aren't that many. And now I'm going to go to the main hall tray. So when I'm here now in Progressive Insights, what I like to do is first, I will run all the items for 1 minute. I'll rescan, run them again for 1 minute, and then just run the highs for 3 minutes. So that's 59%. So that's really good. There are a lot of items in the tray. I'm really happy with that for you. We're going to rescan it now. And you can see the first one is just your cold virus is showing up as the top one. Again, this is not, the Genius is not diagnostic in the allopathic sense. So anything that comes up and shows here is not diagnosing anything. It is just telling you where there is energetic disturbance. So it's really important that people understand that, because I wouldn't want you to leave here and think this is, it says this, so this must be wrong with me, or I have that. A lot of times you could have had a bacterial infection in the past and you cleared the physical bacterial infection, but you still may have the energetic imprint of it. And it is possible, if you still carry that energetic imprint, that you may have some symptoms of it. So that's why it's also not diagnostic, because you may have, it may be showing up, but if you get tested and have a Western medicine test for it, it will show up negative. So because you don't have the physical illness. Anyway, I am going to rescan these for you now. And Julie is also asking, I'm trying to multitask here, if I ever run a scan longer than 5 minutes, and when would that be? Yes, Julie, I do run scans longer than 5 minutes. A lot of times with really acute issues, if someone just fell or they just got sick, A lot of times I will run them overnight. Many times that's for my family and myself. But if I do have a client that needs that, I will run it overnight for them as well. And a lot of times I muscle test as an energy practitioner. So I often will muscle test on how many minutes. But if you can't muscle test, that's okay too. And I would just go with your gut, and also following where you try to get a percent rectification. So I usually look to get 40% and above. So that's basically how I judge how long to run it for. I hope that answers your question. So here we got 16%, but that's okay because we just had 59%. So I will rescan these again, and I'm gonna now just run the highs for 3 minutes, and then we'll go back and we'll check your aura. I'm gonna. So Julie, to run frequencies all night, if you put the timer on 0 minutes, what 0 minutes means is that the genius will run until you physically stop it. With that said though, 0 minutes has a cutoff, and that's 500 minutes. And I believe that's about 8 hours. But I would be mindful that you get back and check it before the 500 minutes is up, because sometimes I have had, if I don't get to it in time, it closes out, and then you won't get to see the rectification, or you'll lose that information. So just be a little bit mindful when you set it to run all night, that you know when that endpoint is going to be. Oh, and Irene, okay, you're asking if I run the frequencies overnight or longer periods of time, do you run all or the highs only? That depends. Sometimes in rare cases, if I have like 300 items, I might just run the highs just because there's so many in there. But normally, it kind of depends. I just go by my gut on that one. It just depends what you're running and what you're working at. Again, you can't really make a mistake though, because if you ran them all and your body doesn't need the frequencies, it's not going to take them in. So I don't know if that helps you, but if you're not sure, you can run all or just the highs, and your body will take whatever it is that they need. Okay, so Julie's asking, is 0 minutes on the main tray? On any of the timers, there's 0 minutes. So I'm going to show my cursor right now. Julie, you see where it says 0 minutes right here? I can move this all the way over and it would be on 0 minutes. When okay, we had 40% rectification here, Chelsea, so that's good. On all the different areas, the timer you can move to 0 minutes. So when we go back here, you see I already have the quick balance on 0 minutes here. But we're going to go look at, see how the aura is looking. Often when we're working with a lot of frequencies, and we ended up getting up to 285 here, often the aura won't look bright and vibrant just because your body is, your energy field is processing so many frequencies. You're getting mostly green here. It's going to flip back in a minute. I don't know why it's Zoom interferes with it. I don't know why, but so this is your, let's just take this picture here. It is a little bit muddy though, so I would like to try to see if we could get that a little brighter. And what I do to try to break that up, because that's kind of like a stagnation, is I like working with my my Alaskan gem elixirs. So these I wouldn't add to the main whole tray. I'm just going to do a quick balance here. Chelsea, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you muted?
I'm actually, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I actually can swallow better, which is great.
That's good.
It is really good. Yes. I'm excited. Thank you.
You're welcome. Julie, you're very welcome. I wish we could see your face. I just see your name on on the thing, but maybe next time. Okay, Irene is asking the questions. If the rectification is lower than 40%, do you run the frequencies again or leave it with that? Often I will run it until I get 40%. And then I do have times where for whatever reason, it's very low, the rectification number. It's like in the teens. And every time I run it, it just doesn't seem to budge. Often, not always, but often it's because the person is dehydrated. And I'll usually, if it's a client, I'll have them drink water. And frequently that will be enough to start getting higher rectification numbers. And sometimes if that doesn't work, it just needs to add one thing to the main hold tray or the quick zap. And what I would usually look to add to it at that point would be like a solution. So either like a flower essence or an Alaskan gem or an essential oil or something to try to break that up. So let's just see now what your aura looks like. So green would be good and healing. Let's just hope we can get it brighter. Yeah, it's a little murky. So I just really don't like to stop until it it looks a little bit better. That's just one of my little things. And we have, I think, another few minutes. So let's see if we can try the flower essences here. And again, I'll do that on quick balance as well, so I don't add to the main whole tray. So I'm seeing, Jan, you also asked the question, do I always use the main hold tray versus the quick zap? Usually I always use the main hold tray, but I kind of use the quick zap similar to how I'm using the quick balance right now, except let's just say I wanted to use all the gemstones and not just the reds and the blues. I might put them all in the quick zap and then run it for a few minutes. So that's how I tend to use the quick zap, but mostly the main hold tray, the balance, when you do a balance in the progressive insight, it's a little bit more powerful because it's a relationship of all the items in so there are algorithms that the genius uses that analyzes everything in relationship to each other. So I will tend to always use those first. Unless if I'm doing like the system overview, I mean the general overview, and then I just use the quick balance because it would take forever to load up that main hold tray with all the items in the general overview. And I'm hoping you have a prettier word now. Yay, that looks much better. So we can take that picture. I always like seeing it when it makes me so happy. So, and I think we have one more message down here. Oh, okay. Jan left us. Anyway, I hope you continue to feel much better, Jan. And if you have any questions about, starting up using the Genius again, you could just email me or you could go to support and we will help you with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Drink lots of water.
Yes, tea and water. Yes.
Yes. And honey.
Yep, it's in here.
Okay, good. Good. Does anybody have any other questions? We have a few minutes left before we end for the day.
I have been trying to answer if we've gone along, so I think other ones have been covered.
I think we have answered most of these in the main hold tray. So, I think somebody else just. You would like to learn more about the libraries. Soon, but not yet. To answer Dale's question about the Alaskan, yes, I will be selling it. I just momentarily I'll let you know in one of my Thursdays once it's available. And can learn more about the libraries. Anything specific about the libraries you'd like to learn, Al?
Yeah.
Al?
Quite a lot there.
Or Allie? I'm sorry. You want to know how to create them, or you want to know where to get them? I'm not really following your question. That may be a question you want to email me at Denise@Insight Health Apps, just because that question would take us way past 3 o'clock, but I'd be happy to help you with that. You would like to learn how to create them. All right. Well, email me and I will send you a video training on doing that. And maybe we'll have to put on the schedule for one of these Thursdays. We can work on how to create a library if everybody would like that. So please email me if you would all be interested in that. And we can plan a week to do that. All right. Anyway,
Can I just mention that if you've purchased through Insight Health Apps and have not yet booked an orientation, please do that with me because the libraries are covered in that, and that's vital information.
Good point. Thank you for mentioning
Insight Health Apps.
Do I mind to send my email in the chat? Sure.
And Facebook, there's Insight Health Apps, there's Insight Help Apps Hub, Help Hub.
There's my email. Did you mean me specifically? Am I on Facebook? I am on Facebook. I also have a business page, Optimize Mind and Body, which I do need to be a little bit better at posting on, but I do post on my personal page. You're more than welcome to friend me. I'll be happy to friend you back. Anyway, everybody have a great day. I really enjoy seeing you all on these Thursdays and look forward to seeing you again next week. And again, apologies for the difficulties in the registration process on Zoom. We haven't really figured out what's happening, but we've been including the meeting ID on the bottom. So if you have problems registering just on the day of, log in with that meeting ID and you should be okay. All right. So again, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.